Welcome to Classic Storytime Hub. Tonight we dive into Von Kempelen and His Discovery by Edgar Allan Poe, a tale of mystery, greed, and the impossible dream of turning lead into gold. What you're about to hear is a reimagined English narration, carefully rewritten to bring suspense and cinematic tension, crafted exclusively for this channel.
After the flood of reports from Arago, Silliman's Journal, and Lieutenant Maury, one might expect that any further commentary on von Kempelen's astonishing breakthrough would be steeped in science. Yet my purpose is not to dissect formulas or weigh experiments. Instead, I wish to speak of the man himself, von Kempelen, a figure I once knew, if only briefly, whose name now burns across every tongue. Let me begin by dispelling a dangerous illusion. This discovery, however earth-shaking, was not born in a vacuum. The great Sir Humphrey Davy had already glimpsed the very secret Kempelen now claims as his triumph. His diary reveals experiments that tread perilously close to the same path, though Kempelen, curiously, never acknowledges the debt. And then there is the rumor, whispered through newspapers, that a certain Mr. Kissam of Brunswick, Maine, uncovered the secret years ago. The tale bristles with dates, places, and details so precise they feel rehearsed. Yet truth rarely wears such a costume. If Kissam truly held the key 8 years past, why did he not seize the fortune that even the dullest peasant would have recognized? Why did he let the world sleep on a treasure that could have crowned him with unimaginable wealth? No, the shadows of doubt cling to these claims, and so the spotlight falls, inevitably, upon von Kempelen, the quiet alchemist whose revelation now threatens to underturn the foundations of science, commerce, and human greed itself. It strains belief that any man of ordinary sense could stumble upon such a revelation only to behave with the helplessness of a child or the blindness of an owl, as Mr. Kissam himself admits. But who is this mysterious Kissam? And is not the entire tale, printed in the Courier and Inquirer, nothing more than a fabrication designed to stir gossip? Its tone reeks of hoax, carrying the same strange perfume as those lunar fables that once deceived the public. Indeed, I place little trust in it. And yet, knowing how easily even the most brilliant minds can be led astray when confronted with mysteries beyond their usual domain, I am less surprised than I might be to see a chemist of Draper's stature entertaining Kissam's pretensions with solemn gravity.
Let us turn instead to the diary of Sir Humphrey Davy. This manuscript was never meant for public eyes. Its rough style betrays its private nature. One passage, for instance, describing his experiments with protoxide of azote, is riddled with broken phrasings and misplaced plurals. Clearly, these were notes dashed off for his own reflection, not polished declarations for the world. And here lies the truth. Davy was the last man who would risk appearing a charlatan. He despised quackery and dreaded the stain of empiricism. Even if he felt certain he had found the right path, he would remain silent until every proof was ready, every demonstration beyond dispute. His caution was his shield, and perhaps the reason his discoveries never shook the world with the sudden violence that now surrounds von Kempelen's claim. I am convinced that Sir Humphrey Davy would have been tormented in his final hours had he known that his private diary, a notebook brimming with raw, unfinished speculations, would survive the flames he intended for it. That it escaped destruction, whether by fortune or misfortune, is a mystery still unresolved. Yet, from those scattered passages, von Kempelen seems to have drawn the spark that ignited his own astonishing revelation. Whether this discovery will prove a blessing or a curse to humanity remains uncertain. One thing, however, is beyond doubt. Von Kempelen and his closest circle will harvest immense wealth. They will surely convert their newfound power into estates, lands, and treasures of undeniable worth. The Home Journal has already circulated an account of Kempelen, though riddled with mistranslations from the German press. Words twisted, sorrows where the original meant sufferings, altering the tone entirely. Such errors cloud the truth, leaving only speculation. In person, Kempelen is no misanthrope, at least in appearance. My own encounter with him was fleeting, yet unforgettable. To converse, even briefly, with the man whose name is destined to echo across the world is no trivial matter. Some journals insist he is a native of Pressburg, but I can state with certainty, for he told me himself, that his birthplace is Utica, New York. His lineage, however, traces back to Pressburg, and his family bears a curious link to Maelzel, famed for the legendary automaton chess player. Such connections only deepen the aura of mystery surrounding von Kempelen, the man who now stands at the edge of history, holding a secret that may reshape the fate of nations.
In person, von Kempelen is a curious figure, short and stout, with pale blue eyes that seem too large for his face, sandy whiskers framing a wide but amiable mouth, and teeth as fine as ivory. A Roman nose lends him a certain dignity, though a defect in one foot betrays a hidden frailty. His manner is open, his speech warm, and his presence anything but misanthropic. I once shared a week with him at Earl's Hotel in Providence, Rhode Island, 6 years ago. Our conversations, scattered across a few hours, touched only on the ordinary topics of the day. Nothing he said hinted at the scientific genius that would later shake the world. He departed before me, bound for New York and then Bremen, the city where whispers of his great discovery first began to spread. Much of what circulates now about Kempelen is pure invention, tales as fanciful as Aladdin's lamp. Yet, as with the gold fever in California, truth may prove stranger than fiction. One account, at least, is too well attested to dismiss. In Bremen, Kempelen lived in modest circumstances, often struggling to raise even small sums. When a scandal erupted over a forgery against the house of Gutsmuth & Co., suspicion fell upon him. He had recently purchased property in Gasperitch Lane, yet refused to explain the source of his funds. Arrest followed, though no decisive evidence was found, and he was released. Still, the police kept him under watch. They noted his frequent excursions, always along the same road, always vanishing near the twisting maze of alleys known as the Dondergat. At last, through relentless pursuit, they tracked him to a garret atop a 7-story house in Flotzplatz. Bursting in, they believed they had caught him red-handed, surrounded by the instruments of counterfeiting. But what they truly discovered was far more extraordinary and far more dangerous than mere forgery. Von Kempelen's agitation was so violent that the officers felt certain they had caught a criminal in the act. Shackling his hands, they began to search the rooms he occupied, the entire mansard, a labyrinth of chambers. In the garret, a hidden closet revealed itself, 10 feet by 8, fitted with strange chemical apparatus whose purpose no one could yet divine. In one corner, a furnace glowed, feeding 2 crucibles joined by a narrow tube. One crucible brimmed with molten lead, shimmering like liquid fire. The other boiled with a furious vapor that hissed into the air as the officers entered. In desperation, Kempelen seized the crucibles with gloved hands, gloves later found to be woven of asbestos, and hurled their contents across the tiled floor. Only then did the officers secure him in irons. A search of his person yielded nothing remarkable, save a small paper parcel tucked into his coat. a mixture of antimony and some unknown substance, equal parts, yet defying all attempts at analysis. Scientists remain convinced that its secret will one day be unlocked. Dragging their prisoner through an antechamber, they found little of consequence, only scattered papers and a few coins of silver and gold. But in his sleeping room, beneath the bed, they discovered a large hair trunk, crude, lid resting loosely atop, without hinges or lock. Attempting to pull it free, the three officers strained with all their strength, yet the trunk would not budge an inch. Astonished, one crawled beneath the bed and peered inside. His voice rang out, half in disbelief, half in awe. "No wonder we couldn't move it. The thing is packed to the brim with old scraps of brass." With straining muscles, the officers finally dragged the heavy trunk from beneath the bed. Inside lay countless small, smooth fragments, irregular in shape, flat and gleaming, ranging from the size of a pea to that of a coin. They looked, to the untrained eye, like nothing more than scraps of brass, the kind of metal that cools into shapeless lumps when molten lead is spilled upon the ground. Not one of the men imagined otherwise. The thought that these dull fragments might be gold never crossed their minds. And so, with contemptuous indifference, they carted the trunk to the police office, leaving behind what they believed to be worthless metal. Their astonishment the next day can scarcely be described when word spread through Bremen that the brass was in fact pure gold, finer than any coinage, virgin and flawless, without the faintest trace of alloy.
Von Kempelen's confession, partial though it was, confirmed what many had already begun to suspect. He had achieved, in essence, the impossible dream of the philosopher's stone. Pure gold, conjured at will from lead and substances unknown. Scientists debated furiously. Arago's opinions carried weight, yet even he could not pierce the mystery. Every attempt at analysis failed. Until Kempelen himself chooses to reveal the secret, the enigma will remain unsolved, perhaps for years. What is certain is this: gold can be made, easily and abundantly, from lead. The implications are staggering. Speculation runs wild. What will this mean for economies, for nations, for the feverish hunger already stoked by California's gold rush? And above all, how ruinously ill-timed is Kempelen's revelation, arriving at a moment when the world is already trembling beneath the weight of gold's allure. When whispers of California's gold rush first spread, many hesitated to embark on the perilous journey, fearing that the sheer abundance of gold would strip it of its value. But now, with von Kempelen's revelation echoing across the world, what shock will seize the hearts of those already digging in the mineral fields? His discovery proclaims that gold, beyond its limited use in manufacturing, is destined to be worth no more than lead, and even less than silver. The consequences are impossible to predict with certainty, yet one fact is undeniable. Had this announcement come 6 months earlier, the settlement of California would have taken a very different course. In Europe, the effects are already visible. Lead has soared 200% in price, silver nearly 25%. The markets tremble, nations speculate, and the world begins to grasp the terrifying truth that the foundations of wealth itself may be crumbling beneath our feet.
And thus the story ended. If you liked this journey into the worlds of classic literature, do not forget to support us by subscribing so we can tell you more. And hey, if there's a classic tale you'd love to hear told in this suspenseful style, drop its name in the comments below. Your suggestion might be our next chilling adventure.